So I'm standing there, and I've got a few items, and this guy, I don't know, he's got like maybe he's got one item. I think he had one. So I was like, well, I'll let him go, and then he decides that, oh, that's right, he needs to get married to the broad behind the behind the counter, and he starts hitting on her. I swear to God, it's about 20. What? We're recording? Well, why didn't you tell me that we're recording? Anyway, fine. Hey, kids, it's Dave, and we apparently started recording, and I could go into this whole thing about the Vault of Shadows. And I'll just say welcome to the Vault of Shadows. And we're going to talk about something today that's going to require us to get in our time machine and travel back to that halcyon age known as 2019. That's right. And kids, you may not remember much of that because, according to some, that's when the world began. That's right. There wasn't anything before 2020, it seems like some days. But anyway, back in 2019, there was a film released that you may or may not have seen called Candy Corn. And it has some pretty big names in horror literature. Not literature, that's not the word. Can we just start over? Why can't we? All right, fine. Horror film history is what I meant to say, kids. And it's some technical thing. They're like, we have to limit minimal editing. I don't know. That's it. But anyway, so it's got some fairly big names, some names you're going to recognize here. And it came out in 2019. It is an indie film. It's very small budget, but it has some fun to it, and it could have had some better writing and acting here and there. But the mask in this movie is very cool and is actually sculpted by one of my all-time favorite sculptors, and maybe favorite, I would say favorite, the great Justin Mabry, who's even in this film himself as a supporting player. Is that what that called was a supporting cast? I think he has a few words in the movie. Yeah, but I don't know. Anyway, whether you've already screwed this up by not telling me we're filming, you don't have any information that's useful? Let me go ahead now. I have a bad eye, kid, so let me look at the screen here. Courtney Gaines. Now, you may, I was looking at my computer there. It's a Tandy 1000, so that screen's a little small, hard to read. That's from about 1989, 88, if you're wondering. Still works. I can still get IMDb on it. But if you're wondering, Courtney Gaines, best known perhaps to horror fans as Malachi in Children of the Corn. I haven't seen it yet. I haven't gotten around to it. It's on my list. I just haven't seen it. He's also in Back to the Future as Dixon. And then, of course, we also have the great P.J. Souls. I don't think I have to explain her horror pedigree. Probably best known from John Carpenter's Halloween. And we also have the late, great Tony Todd, who has a very small role. The name of the character is Bishop. He plays a small role here as a member of the carnival. It does involve a carnival. I'm always a sucker for carnivals and Halloween. And there are several films. In fact, one of my favorite horror films of all time, directed by the late, great Tobe Hooper of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Poltergeist, Salem's Lot fame, is The Funhouse. And that really should have been set during Halloween. I mean, to me, it's a perfect Halloween horror film. But I love a good funhouse as a backdrop or as a setting, and characters, from a funhouse or a carnival being involved. That there's just so much creepiness and potential in that. And that's what we have here. And this is not a massive achievement in horror cinema, nor would it be, by today's standards, called elevated cinema. Or elevated horror, rather. I don't know what that means. All I know is the more elevated that horror gets, the less I want to have to take the steps to get up there and see it, because a lot of it is crap, okay? And so, we're not going to get into that, but suffice to say, this movie, I will take a million of these versus just one of something coming out from Jason Blum. Or what, is it Blum? Is it Bloom? Does he know? No one knows. No one's sure. But I digress. So this movie is called Candy Corn. Brief review. You've got those characters or those actors in there. You've got a premise involving a character who's a bit of an underdog. I'm trying to be very vague so as to avoid spoilers for a 6-year-old movie, but you may not have even heard of it. So, I encourage you to go watch it. And this character is being bullied. I identify with that. Back in my living days, I was a target for much bullying. Some kind of folkloric type stuff happens. I'll just give you a little hint here. The Golem, if you're familiar, not Gollum. I guess I should have said that differently. Not Gollum from Lord of the Rings, the Golem, right? From Jewish belief, and there's an element of that to this film. And there's some really great kills. There's some really great special effects in here. It could have been longer. I think it could have been more tightly written. But I really had fun with it, and I think it's a good Halloween film for the year, right, or the time of year rather. So it's one to put on during the Halloween season, and it gets you in that spirit. It has that mood. It has that feeling. There is kind of the way it was shot, and just there's this feeling of dread. And again, it's not winning any awards, but that's why I like it. It didn't set out to win any awards. It set out to be a love letter. It's a slasher. It set out to be a love letter, I think, to horror films of yesteryear and to horror movie fans. And as I said, the great Justin Mabry, who sculpted many of the greatest masks you've ever seen on this channel or any other channel, he's in the film. And he has a small role there, playing a sheriff's deputy. But the main character is named Julien. And Julien, without spoiling anything, geez, it's hard with one eye to really see what you're doing. But Julien, this is not his face, what you're about to see. This is not his face. This is the result. This is a mask that he wears, okay? And Julien gets to this mask at some point. And so I'll come in a little closer here. You can see the detail there in the eyes. The lighting, not great here in this portion of the vault. But I think significant. I think it does the trick. You can see the detail in there. You've got a face that almost looks like a human face that's been carved like a jack-o'-lantern, right? And that seems to be the intent here. I was just trying to think now, are there ears? There aren't any ears, but there is this really nice big head of hair. This is a 3/4 mask that's got the wig attached in the back. So that's nice. And Julien is, he's our, spoiler alert, he is our slasher in this film. And I think this is just a creepy, cool mask. The color here is pretty strong orange. In the film, from what I could tell, could have been my television, who knows, a little more muted shade, but has that kind of orange hue. And I tell you, this is just it's a fun mask. It is one. In fact, I got it on sale. I don't tell you where I got it on sale. They may still have some. I don't know if they're still having the clearance sale going on. I got it over at Lord Grimley's Manor, which is where I get most of my masks. And they are a wonderful company, wonderful customer service, great selection, and great people. And they are way down there in South Louisiana. So you're supporting a small business, and this is the time of year to support them, as this is their biggest part of the year. So I got this on clearance, but hey, get a couple of masks over there on clearance and then get some at full price. And I mean, I know, whatever your budget is, or I get none. I'm not paid by them, by the way. I in no way get anything from them. I am just a big fan and like to give them the attention that I can give them from the 3, perhaps 4.2 viewers that I managed to get. And so there you go. So I got this from Lord Grimley's Manor. It is a fun little mask here, and you could wear this probably just. I'm going off the top of my head. Julien is a normal guy. He's not wearing a jumpsuit or any kind of sweater that's very specific. It looks like a Christmas sweater or anything. Not picking on Freddie, just a comment. You could wear probably like a flannel shirt. It doesn't have to be flannel, but that kind of work shirt, but with a pattern on it. And jeans. And this guy, and he's pretty flexible with the kills. So any weapon of your choice, knife, whatever you want to wear, carry along there. Have a great time. People might not know who it is. Great opportunity to say, hey, this is Julien from Trick. I'm sorry, I said Trick. From the movie Candy Corn. Go check out Candy Corn and then buy the mask after. So, yes, 2019. But 2019 was, on my final note here, kids, 2019 was had 2 really, I thought, entertaining movies that were Halloween themed, and yet they didn't seem to get a whole lot of traction. One is, in fact, Candy Corn, and then the other is Trick, which I had on the brain because I watched it last weekend. Trick, directed by the great, I think, Patrick Lussier, who was the film editor for Wes Craven, no longer with us, sadly, and all of the 4 Scream films that he did, to me, the only Scream films. And so I just kept thinking Patrick Lussier is the guy that you need to get this guy to do Scream. And then they went with these other people. And I like Radio Silence. from VHS and Ready or Not, but boy, did they, woof, not great. What happened with Scream there. So check out Candy Corn. Grab the Julien mask. There is also, and I don't have it, but Julien also has a Halloween, a jack-o'-lantern candy pail. And boy, is it a creepy, cool candy pail, kids. And you can find that on Lord Grimley's as well. So I'll put a link there if you're interested in that. I'll also put a link for you to get the film, Candy Corn. However, I'm sure there's several different ways that you can get it. But I'll put a link to Amazon, and then you can go to whatever format is best for you there. Kids, thanks so much for watching as we continue to roll through this wonderful Halloween season and month of October. Until next time, keep it spooky.